All righty. Well, we're back again. We never left. Actually, we're starting part two now of our coordinator breakdown that our Lord and film savior Seth Varnadore has
Oh my,
graciously given to us.
that's a lot of
So
pressure.
yeah. So part one, we broke down FAU's offense under Charlie Weiss Jr. Obviously, Charlie Weiss Jr. named the offense coordinator for USF under Jeff Scott. So now we'll be looking at, coincidentally, the defensive coordinator for FAU, whose name is escaping
Glenn
me right now,
Spencer.
Glenn Spencer, who is a very, pretty much the opposite of a person of Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss being 26 years old, Glenn Spencer's like 56 years old, been in the game for a long time. So it should be interesting to see how he coaches up his defense over there in Boca.
Yes, let's go ahead and get that started.
And we're looking at the bowl game again against SMU, where FAU just kind of ran them out of Boca Raton, beat them 52-28. Really just crushed them.
Couldn't
Yeah,
couldn't stop that CUSA speed.
that's right. That's right. So we all saw live and in person how good the SMU offense can be, and how now while they didn't have Roberson or Robertson, number 8, who's a really good receiver, they did have everybody else. They had the full complement of guys that they scored a bunch of points on pretty much everyone they played with. So I kind of wanted to go see how FAU played them, and you'll kind of get a look here. They did some, so this is they did a really good job on third down, and that's something that um, the USF was really, really bad at last year. A lot of people would point to the third down offense. The third down offense was kind of ended up being about average nationally. Defensively on third down, USF was one of the worst in the country last year. I think they were like 115th or 114th going into the final game out of 130. So really, really bad. So we've got a bunch of plays from third down and then just a few things throughout the game. But here's the first third down of the game. And I haven't watched every FAU game this year, but they kind of came out in some 3 down linemen, 3 safety stuff. Here they got 4 rushing, but it's kind of the 3 safety stuff that you see a lot. I guess the telestrator's not working. So it's kind of 3 safety stuff you see a lot. Oh, there we go. You see a lot in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a lot of that there where they're trying to contain passing games. So here you kind of have 3 safety stuff. You have the corners rolled up. And you're going to end up really essentially getting cover 3 where these guys are going to play the flat from outside in. Usually people play the flat inside out. So they're going to kind of press here and then play the flat outside in. You have your 3 deep, like cover 3. And you have these guys that are hooked across. So 3 deep, 4 under. So here they kind of drop back into coverage and only rush 4. Make the quarterback drop it off, and then they rally and tackle. And you'll see how many guys they get the ball here. And that's one thing that was really noticeable on film is how hard they play and how hard they run the ball. And when Spencer was hired, one thing that Scott said about him is that he's bringing a physical, intense, and aggressive style. And you can definitely see that when you watch them play. They are physical, they are really aggressive, and they do play with intensity. So here's kind of a look at that it really looks like the tight front thing that a lot of people are doing where these guys are actually inside the tackles, they're 4 eyes, and you have to play really hard with these overhang backers. They have to be able to play run really well. Because right here it kind of looks like a 5-man box or even a 4-man box depending. And they're trying to, you see with the stack, they're trying to get more people out of the box so they can run the ball. You still have your 3 safeties over the top. Your corners are pressed up. And then you have these outside overhang backers. So right here with this front, a lot of people think this is really easy to run the ball into. There's only 3 down linemen. There's not much there, especially if I run some type of read. But you can see how kind of physical they are. And just getting at the ball. And then you see that once the safeties see run, they're flying in and making plays too. So even with this short front, they play it really well and really sound. And then you have safeties coming in to deliver the final shot there. But you see he's squeezing down, not giving anything up. You're winning some inside. And then safety's coming to fill. So they're still able to play the run with this. Now, this may be a bowl game adjustment, or this may be something that he wants to go to, especially when he plays kind of spread teams, which you'll see a lot of in this conference. A lot of no huddle kind of spread looking teams that'll do a variety of stuff out of it. But I think the teams you need to beat to win your division, especially, you'll kind of see. Are there any Navy? Is there any? Yeah, there's Navy. So good luck with that. So here's another example on third. Here's another third down example. So the last third down, they drop back and play coverage here. You see the 3 down front here. They're not dropping back and playing coverage. They're playing straight up cover 1, man-to-man with 1 safety deep. So mixing up the looks. And since I'm playing that aggressive style, and look, right, we saw SMU's receivers. They're not anything to trifle with. They're all pretty good. But they're like, whatever, we're going to play you man-to-man. Good luck. So that's that kind of aggressive nature you're seeing. They walk up a backer here. And so they run some games on the front here. You can see you have the backer go inside here. You'll get a game there. You have the tackle go outside. Another game coming around. So it's not just a straight, I'm just going to blitz my gap, right? Kind of try to pick through these 2 guys, loop him around, pick you through these 2 guys, loop him around. Hopefully the center, and then occupy him with a tackle, or occupy the tackle with the end. Hopefully the center's got to turn one way, and then I can get a free rusher is what the idea is. You don't get home, but you do push the pocket quite a bit. And you get kind of some traffic at his feet that he's got to make a throw. And then your aggressive corner comes up and knocks the ball away. So here's a 2nd and 15. Again, just a lot of guys around the ball being aggressive. You see they still got that same kind of 3-man front, but they're also bringing over the tight end. You have another walked up here, another walked up out there. So they're playing it real aggressive. You can see them engage right away with the tight end here. Kind of eliminates the down blocks. They do a good job of forcing it back inside. Right, he doesn't jump in here, let himself get hooked. Forces it back inside. You got linebackers coming up to make the play. And you see you got so many guys around the ball. So I think if you're thinking fast, physical, aggressive, intense, you're kind of seeing it here. And here's another 3rd down. Right here, you have nobody actually down in a stance. You just have a lot of guys, right? Right now, any one of these guys could rush. If you're well coached and you understand your gaps and how I need to be in my gap, you can do kind of creative stuff like this. And you also see here, locked up, locked up, locked up. It looks like they're all locked up, right? They ended up bringing a blitz. You have to make a perfect throw and catch. And actually right here, this ball is dropped. So even with a really good throw and a really unbelievable catch, you still get off the field. But here you get this coming across. And you're just trying to overwhelm the protection. And again, they don't get there, but look at here's the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Look where everyone's at. This is not an easy play. He's having to throw under duress. And if he doesn't get that ball out soon, he will get hit. And then they're playing man. Prochet gets open, but not by much. And it's got to be a perfect throw under all this pressure. The throw's a little wide. Prochet makes a great grab at it, but it ends up being overturned on replay as incomplete. So again, I think you saw if you go back and watch the USF SMU game, some of it felt passive, especially against the run. You kind of got it looked like they got caught off guard by the tempo, and there was a passivity to kind of the defense a little bit.
Yeah.
There's not any of that here. Another 2nd and 5. And you just see these guys swarming the ball. Again, this tight front. These guys are just playing physical and aggressive. You see them blowing up blockers. They're blowing this up into the puller. And then these guys are coming up to fit right now. Nobody's kind of not sure what to do. There's no hesitation. They're coming to fit. And then you got the safety coming up to fit too. So I think he's a linebackers coach as well, Coach Spencer. So you kind of look and watch how the linebackers play.
Also, I can't tell if he's a defensive end or who he is, but the guy at the top, the top down lineman there, I mean, they got off the ball quick. Every single one of them is basically ready to go, popped out before the rest of the offensive line can even.
And that's what you can see, how quick these two guys got off the ball. They blew up this guy into the puller. So how the play's drawn up, your puller's coming right there. What a great play. And we saw this happen to USF quite a few times last year, especially against Wisconsin. Great call. But when your puller gets blown back 5 yards in the backfield, he's not going to get to that linebacker. And now you got a free linebacker. And then the running back tries to bounce it. And your outside player here does a great job of maintaining leverage, right? We saw a few times USF guys last year jumped inside to try to make the play instead of just doing their job. Right here, he just keeps leverage. The ball gets bounced to him, and he helps finish up the play. So all signs of kind of a well-coached defense. So here's just another look. You've seen kind of man. You've seen them play like 3 deep. So now SMU goes empty. And so I think they're playing him man-to-man here. So they're playing like a version of quarters. He's got eyes on number 3. He's got eyes on number 3. He's got eyes on number 3. So they're playing like 2 read inside this corner, basically. So if he goes vertical, he goes out, I'll run with the vertical. Or I can jump that, and he can get over the top of the vertical. If they both go vertical, we're both sinking, right? This is kind of a muddled mess, right? So these guys are man-to-man right here. These guys are these 1, 2, 3 guys have their eyes on him. So you got 3 over 2 right here. And then backside, he's man-to-man here. Now you're going to have the safety and the linebacker. So let's do 1 and 2 on this number 2 receiver here. So you're able to kind of create, with his quarters coverage, kind of numbers advantages, especially if you play man on the outside, which they do. So that's nice to see aggressiveness. He's outside leverage of him with eyes here. Basically, these guys are all reading 3. If 3 goes out, he can take it, and then 1 goes vertical, he's going to get over the top of it. If 1 goes vertical and 2 goes vertical, right? So they're reading through these guys. If they both go vertical, well, he'll just take number 1. He'll take number 2. This guy's short. He can kind of jump in there and then wall him off from getting inside. So it's just a different way to play, like we've talked about in the past, 2 read. It's basically like we're playing 2 read inside of that. So if you just took those guys off the screen, and here it's 2 read, and backside they're playing just kind of a different form, like a man quarters, where I'm manned up out here, and then I'm playing off number 2. So that's just another way to run it. Just a bunch showing just different versatility here. Just different stuff. So we see he kind of sees 2 getting vertical a little bit, not flat right now. He just passes them off here. And now they can both work on this number 2 receiver vertical. It forces them to check it down. And then they rally and make the tackle for a gain of nothing. Actually, looks like maybe a loss of 1.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell Shane's wanting to throw it to Prochet there. You can tell that's basically his only read.
Well, there's a ton of, but it's just, he's getting a lot. First of all, he's getting a lot of guys in his face. I don't know how many sacks they got in this game, but they got in his face a lot. But they're showing him so many different looks. They're showing man, like straight up man, hardcore man. They're showing like 2 deep quarters look. They showed a 3 deep cover 3 look, but not just a traditional looking cover 3.
0 sacks actually,
Yeah, but you could tell he's a little spooked.
but he's
back
getting
there. He's
pressure
not,
at his face.
yeah,
He's
he's
getting
not.
hit. Yeah,
He's not just like. It's not just a nice clean day at the office like it was in Tampa for him. So here, it looks like they're kind of running. I think they're running drive, hoping these guys will jump up and they can hit it behind him. They kind of do their job. He's got to drop off this shallow, and now rally and tackle. And you end up seeing how many guys get to the ball.
and then he didn't stupid tackle him either.
This guy, 42, ends up getting in on a tackle. I think it's friendly fire. They did not like push him forward or anything.
Yeah,
Watch 42
gets
in on it. Friendly fire, but still, that's kind of well-coached, physical, aggressive defense to get to the ball, and then make you take stuff short and rally and make you earn it instead of just, a lot of times you'll see a guy just fly down at the shallow route and open up a dig behind him. They just make you earn it all the way down the field, which is a sign of a well-coached defense.
No, I can guarantee I see like USF giving him a first down by just tackling him forward.
Yeah, somebody may come in and tackle him forward. So here's again right here, red zone, no fear, man. Here's Prochet. They're like, whatever, we're gonna play man. And then what I liked about this one was we saw USF kind of do this to ECU. Here outside, they're coming back across. He's going to wrap around for the backside. Now he's going to act like he's rushing for a couple of steps and then drop down underneath. You'll see they have the tight end coming across underneath. So if Buechele does not throw this, I think it's just a corner, a fade to it may be the double, maybe just like a smash here. If he does not throw this to Prochet, he'd probably looking here, and they have a guy dropping right into the area. You can see he's kind of slowly dropping in there. If you want to try to force that one in there, he may get a hand on it. But I just like to see the aggressiveness of, hey man, we're going to play man to man. Make a good throw, make the play. And he doesn't make a great
terrifying
throw.
Giving Prochet man on man like that.
Yeah, but it's like make a good. We've been hitting you all day. Make a good throw, and maybe Buechele's one of those guys when he's hot. He's hot. He was unbelievable in Tampa. Seeing him in person, he was on fire. But it's nice to see just the aggressiveness. All right, go up. Good luck, man to man, make the play. And with what USF should be having coming back next year on defense, if those guys just make that like kind of year-to-year improvement, you think you'd have a pretty good secondary coming back.
It is up in the air if currently, as of January 5th, Mike Hampton is undecided if he's staying at USF, whether or not he's going to transfer, go to the draft, or stay, or whatever he's planning on doing, or go to the XFL. So as of right now, KJ has announced that he's going to be staying, but Mike Hampton is up in the air. But the secondary, behind him, you still got guys like Vincent Davis, who didn't see much playing time this year, but I feel like would fit perfectly in the system. Just a physical corner who can, really hit the shit out of someone.
I think I would imagine, unless Mike Hampton's, year-long dream has been to be a Viper, I would think he would probably want to stay.
Yeah.
He probably had a better year the year before. This year wasn't his best. He was in position a lot. He just didn't quite make those plays. And I don't think coming back would hurt him at all. And I bet he'd do really well in this system, given the aggressive nature of it. I'm sure he'd like to play in that. But we'll see what he decides. But either way, I think you should have some pretty good players coming back, especially if he comes back. Then you have two. You have to feel pretty good about your returning corners. And I know
plus you get a guy like Jules coaching him, who's won national championships and coached many of corners of
and loves college football apparently.
College football, baby.
All right, so this is a kind of a play that really turned the game. It's kind of been back and forth. FAU goes down and scores. There's a minute left. SMU, they're pretty quick on offense, so that's a chance for them to go down and drive. So I think they're just going to run like a simple cover 3 here. A lot of times, cover 3, you'll bring the safety down and put him in the flat, and this guy will be the hook curl guy. You can also invert that, which is what they do here. He takes the flat, he rolls down to be the hook curl guy. You got 3 deep here, 4 under, I'm pretty sure. But again, they don't just rush simply up front. They run a little bit of a game.
Mhm.
Again, push the pocket back. Where is the line of scrimmage? Where's the pocket? And some of this is that air raid stuff when you want to just the vertical setting. But he pushes in there, and then you have 2 guys that are in close. Now, a perfect throw, he fits it in there, and you're all right. But the aggressiveness and that safety rolled down causes that throw to be a little bit high. They tip it up, and then we have like a 15-second Benny Hill yakety sax return going on here. But this is actually, if you watch our offensive video, this is a play that sets up that kind of jet sweep fake pass in the end zone on the post route. This happened right before, and the very next play they come back and score a touchdown, and all of a sudden it's 28-14 going to the half, and then it's pretty much over after that. So this is kind of a big play in the game, and just some of it's just caused by guys just mixing up coverages. It's kind of all been different. So again, here's a 3rd and 9, and again, personally, I mean, this is, if you have the guys that can win on offense, it's great. But I was always fearful of just somebody coming up and saying, all right, we're just going to play man. Because you can take a lot of things away just by being in people's faces. A lot of easy stuff. You really make people earn it. And again, if you come and play man, just playing cover 1 safety deep, everybody else is manned up. And this is another 3rd down. 3rd down and long, you're not sitting back soft, letting them get something on. That happened quite a few times last year where we kind of on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15, they sit back and salt and kind of a softer 3 deep look, and people just work the dig into the boundary for 15 yards and get a 1st down. I mean, this is 3rd and 9, and they're bringing a lot of pressure. So they're going to slant these guys across, blitz the backer, and then you have the other backer wrapping around with this end kind of trying to widen the tackle and open up the lane here for the blitzer. And again, you don't get to Buechele, but you give him a lot of problems.
I was about to say, you're making him throw almost 10 yards behind line of scrimmage.
And he's also having to take most of the time he's having to take that first read. He's not getting times that he doesn't really have time to hitch up and make another look. Here, there probably was only 1 read, but still, he doesn't have time to really get set and kind of really dig into what he wants to do. But again, a different look. So they showed pressure on 3rd down. They've dropped back on 3rd down. It's not the same. That's kind of what I like to see when you become predictable, even down and distance, because they have so many people in college now that are just breaking small parts of the game down. If you're predictable in any particular down and distance, people are gonna find that and exploit it. Here is just kind of another example, just aggressiveness, just kind of pushing people. Then Buechele crushes the referee, which is really the best part of the play.
I was about to say, Buechele might have to change positions to a linebacker here.
So you see right here, the hurt is about to come down. He's the only guy that actually hit Buechele all game.
He's not even wearing pads. That man had a family.
So yeah, you just see kind of them. You just like, this is a fumble by SMU, yeah, but just look how many guys are around the ball. That's just kind of what I was looking at. It's not like they forced it with any kind of great scheme, but you can see these guys get pushed, but they're getting pushed into the backfield, right? He fumbles it, but you just have so many guys. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dudes just all with their eyes on the ball right now. And I believe they were one of the top teams in turning people over last year, weren't they, Steve?
They were number one in turnovers or takeaways, basically.
Yeah. And then
Number three in interceptions. Yeah.
Yeah, and they got Buechel so mad he took out the ref.
That was Buechel, like straight up. That's just he made no effort towards making a tackle. He was just he had a personal vendetta against that ref.
I think he extended. I think it's intentional here. We should probably call the NCAA. I mean, those are arms extended right there. Holy cow!
Oh my goodness.
They should probably go. Death penalty version 2 is what I'm saying.
Oh,
bring it back.
It'll be another 50 years before they recover. Just like that ref.
He's way out of the. You see how far?
I was about to say anything makes that long.
He's almost on the sideline now. Look at that distance right there. He's on top of the numbers now.
He doesn't want that smoke anymore.
Another third down, and you rush. Right, it looks like a really all-out blitz, right? You rush, you're bringing a bunch of guys, and then you actually are going to drop this guy, and you'll see the tight end wants to hook up right over the ball. Well, unfortunately, you've dropped a guy right underneath it, and now he's got to go to the curl. This is probably just curl flat, Hank, and now he's got to go out to the curl, and your corner's all over it. So just here's another third down, a different look. So I think it's just interesting to see how much they kind of change things up on third downs. Now, bowls can be somewhat deceiving just because of how much practice you get for one opponent, and you can really do stuff. But just watching this and then looking at their stats, like you said, all the takeaways, and then looking back at, what Coach Scott said when Coach Spencer was hired. Just he's got a fast, physical, aggressive style. It all kind of meshes together when you watch it. That this probably wasn't just something for the bowl game. This is probably how they played for most of the year.
Yeah, FAU was extremely well coached that entire bowl game, and it's a complete credit to Weiss Jr. and Glenn Spencer. It seemed like just from what we heard from the Owl's Nest that they would have been fine with either one of them, turning and becoming the head coach of that program. Lo and behold, both of them leave, both of them come here. They're going to bring all that experience that they had, and hopefully, we'll see how quickly they can right the ship here. But
Spencer was the head coach for the game, and you kind of go into that game, you're thinking, okay, SMU is going to really come in here motivated, get 11 wins. I'm not sure if they've ever done that before. Have they gotten 11 wins before? I don't know. Well, then you have FAU.
They have before,
definitely during the probation years. I don't know. Yeah. 10 was a big deal for them. So 11 would have been a really big deal for SMU. So they weren't lacking motivation. And then you have a team that lost their coach. Their defensive coordinator's the head coach now. But they played with a real kind of real fire and intensity. I keep saying intensity, but it kind of shows. Mm-hmm. And they really played like inspired, and it's for the interim coach to kind of inspire that in his players is very, very interesting to see him coming to USF now.
Yeah. We kept hearing that the players really loved both Spencer and Weiss Jr. So bringing them together as a coalition with Jeff Scott saying like I want to do that CEO approach, let them coordinate, let them do their thing. They already kind of play off of each other or have the last 2 years. That seems like a really good, a good thing to have. So you're not just bringing, they've worked together so they know exactly what each other likes too, at least to an extent. So I think it's a really interesting combo too of like youth and experience.
And that is something you want is cohesion between offensive and defensive schemes. Sometimes you'll get guys that, the guy's a great defensive coordinator, but he's never coordinated with an offense that goes no huddle all the time. That's something that's totally different than just being a normal defensive coordinator. You have to coach differently than you would normally if your offense is no huddle super fast. If your offense is really slow, grind people out, pound the ball, really take a lot of time off the clock, well then you got to coach differently than you would if you're coaching no huddle. So that cohesion, I don't think that's something people really like think about, but having that cohesion, not just knowing each other, but having that cohesion of scheme and understanding how their schemes work together and complement each other, I think is going to be helpful too.
It'll definitely be interesting,
Perfect.
especially with how well they were coached the entire time during the season too. So it's looking good, at least as far as these hires go on paper. So we'll see how they actually come into fruition as the season kind of rolls on. But I think that does it for part 2 of our coordinator breakdown of what's been going on recently. So in part 3, we'll be taking a look at how Jeff Scott adjusted in the college football playoff semifinals against Ohio State. Obviously, found themselves in a little bit of a hole, and through the sheer willpower of how Jeff Scott wanted to impress all of the USF media and
only
good
Jeff Scott
and only Jeff Scott.
They had a walk-on, they had a scrub out there at quarterback. They had no good skill players. There's just one man's desire to win.
Jeff Scott was just not there, wanting to impress it. But I think we'll be breaking down, what was happening, the adjustments made there in preparation for our college football playoff championship coming up here soon. So we'll start getting ready for part 3. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.